wear your seatbelt when you're driving? Do you almost never text and drive? Do you observe the speed limit most of the time? You probably think you're a safe driver. You're not, but you're not alone. Most of us tend to drift from what we know is the correct behavior. In the workplace, we call this practical drift. It's one of the areas ArcelorMittal USA is focusing on in its 2017 health and safety training. Practical drift is the slow uncoupling of practice from procedure. Over time, a person may decide that a certain behavior is more efficient than the written procedure, the behavior that is repeated and eventually legitimized through consistent use. That's one thing Kawana Smith learned from this year's training.
It made me realize that even over time, you start doing things and maybe deviating from the way they should be done, and it could take just one little issue to make a massive safety mistake or something like that. It could cause a lot of damage, it can cost lives and things like that. So I believe that was the most important part of the class.
There is a difference between practical drift and taking shortcuts. A shortcut is when you know a behavior could be hazardous, but you do it anyway, betting that you won't get hurt. Practical drift occurs over time.
Practical drift is generally considered the slow uncoupling of procedures and activities that employees or others perform. Oftentimes it's things that we do every day, and before we know it, we no longer do it the way that we started to a year ago or 10 years ago. In many cases, those changes occur because we've identified ways to improve, or maybe I have a better way to do it. But just because someone thinks that it's a better way doesn't necessarily mean that it's the right way or the correct way, and unfortunately not always the safest way.
This is the third year of a new type of health and safety training at ArcelorMittal, training that is designed to be both hands-on and engaging. In addition to a crane safety scenario, employees are also being reminded of the importance of lockout, tagout, tryout.
They learn on lockouts, which is very important for everybody to know. You got to lock everything out and then verify it, then go over the confined space stuff, and so it's all very important, especially when you're out there in the mill.
They'll know how to do the Hyrax light cart. They'll know how to lock out. They'll know that they need that personal safety lock to lock out equipment and to verify, try it out, make sure that equipment won't run while they're in there. So we get a lot of good feedback on the training.
ArcelorMittal is committed to ensuring safe, healthy, quality working lives for our people. That's the first of our company's 10 sustainable development outcomes. Keep in mind that preventing practical drift can decrease the chance of a potential serious injury or fatality. If we understand what practical drift is, we can detect it and change direction before something bad happens, and we can use our existing tools to eliminate it. Here are some questions to consider during your team's safety meetings. What are the practical drift practices in your department? Why are they considered better than the procedures they replaced? And what are the consequences of letting the drift continue? Practical drift exists in all organizations and can have devastating effects. Understanding it is critical to creating a safer workplace. If you have an idea for a safe, sustainable steel video, please email us at safesustainablesteelusa@arcelormittal.com.